Okay. Hello, Leo. This is a reading for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for June 2021. You know what I'm going to do is I call it past, present, future, but it's going to be like beginning of June or going into June, middle chunk of June, and end of June and going into July. Okay. But we're just going to call it past, present, future just to make life easy. So let's get going. I ask for 3 cards to get us going. The overall themes, the overall messages for each row, please. In Leo's highest good, always and only. Ooh, okay. These 2 came out reversed, but I don't necessarily read reverse. The message comes out regardless, so I'm not too worried about that. Stay. All right, so recent past. In other words, maybe now and going into the beginning of July, gratitude. And I want you to look at the picture more so than I definitely feel like you've been working on being able to sit in gratitude no matter what you're going through. But really the picture, I mean, speaks of this is a woman stepping into her power, really owning her power, owning her path, owning her responsibility for her own journey. Okay. And that is, when you can be in gratitude for the process, for the opportunity, for this life, then it lends beautifully to being able to move you forward and step into your path. So I do feel like, Leo, you guys have been really working on this, maybe even inadvertently. I'm getting a big message of they don't even know they've been doing this. They just have been going with the flow as much as they can, right? And Leo, boy, I know that's hard for you. Being the king of the jungle, being this, kind of powerful force out there in the cosmos as this kind of commanding masculine fire sign, you have really been going more inward and tuning into your divine feminine and working on balancing the two and maybe acting less, doing less, and being more. Okay. So that's beautiful. That's what you guys have been doing. And look at this root. If we go by the kind of standard understood chakra color system, root, solar, throat. That says it all. Root, survival, right? We've been flushing literally so much into Gaia. Gaia is like our proctologist right now, if you pardon the metaphor. Gaia is really reaching up in there and pulling and helping us shed this fear of survival. We don't need to live down there anymore. We're not cavemen, okay? And I understand. And you know why? This is coming up is because the world right now seems incredibly scary, okay, on the surface. The things that are going on, we feel like and I'm not saying they're not, but this is all about belief systems. Right? We believe that our personal rights are being taken away, that our freedoms are being taken away. And that is lending, if you can be in gratitude for that, even allow it to be in the energy, right? Allow it to be here. We can't get rid of anything by resenting it and hating it and loathing it. And, that only makes things hang on longer. Okay. So if you can be in gratitude for what's going on right now, because what it's doing is it's really showing people what you're afraid of, why you're afraid of it, and how you can release it. Okay. So it's helping people face their fears, and it's helping people realize that it's not about erasing fear or getting rid of fear. It's about looking at fear, shining a light on what's behind it. What's behind this fear? Why are you so terrified of what's going on in the world right now, right? If you are, okay, just an example, you need to look behind it. Okay, there's the fear, which is an illusion. The fear is covering up what the real problem is, okay? So if you are, let's say you're terrified that, we're going down a path where we won't be able to leave our homes without a passport of sorts, right? I'm not even going to say the word, but we won't be able to leave our homes without some sort of documentation. Then you are lending to that energy in a way. And if you're afraid of it, then you're feeding it even more. Okay. So, and I know easier said than done, right? But again, this is not about just, I'll just let go of the fear. It's not that easy. You've got to look behind it and see what's behind there, okay? Because the fear is just covering up what the problem is, what the actual trauma and the block is. And so it's healing so much root up to the solar. Solar is where anxiety lives. Anxiety has built a house in your solar. And we have lived between those two, right? The root and the solar is where we have existed for thousands of years. We are now shifting up into the heart, okay? We're still going to be using these lower ones because they're beautiful, but they're going to be less about our focus. We're not going to be focused on those areas because those lower chakras are about survival and just procreating and getting by and getting through. Those lower chakras scream that programming of school, 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 work, 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 die. Okay. We're not doing that anymore. We're breaking free from that. And the only way to do that is to really look at our fear. And so all these scary things are coming up that are reminding people of past, eras where freedoms were definitely taken away and everything, all of these horrible things, seemingly horrible things were happening. Horrible. They were horrible things were happening. But again, we have to look at everything as in our highest good somehow, right? And that's what this gratitude is about. And you're working on that. And I feel like you've come a long way already as you're watching this, no matter when you're watching this. If you're watching this the end of May, the end of June, the beginning of July, whenever you clicked on it by accident and you're like, oh, I'll just out of it. And so you've been doing a lot of work and that's amazing. Good for you. And then just speaking more of our truth, right? Like once we realize, and not out of fear. Okay. So, and notice too, I love that. Okay. So blue and yellow, if you mix them together, green is the heart, which makes sense because it's between the two, right? Solar and throat. It's absolutely between the two. And so when we work on these areas and raising our consciousness into the heart, which is the whole point of this ascension, living from our heart, living from unconditional love and compassion, we are able to speak our truth more freely and say, fuck everybody else. I don't care what you think of what I'm saying. Because your opinion of me is none of my business, right? And, if people want to tell you their opinion of you, you can allow that to bother you or you can let it go, right? Don't let it bother you. So this is a beautiful card and it shows that you are doing a ton of work, okay? Or you have been, okay? You have been, or maybe even if you feel like you're just coming into this, don't worry about it being, I don't feel like it's going to be like necessarily a miserable time. Challenging, yes. Okay. Reach out to people, reach out to guides in the etheric, reach out to guides in the physical, reach out to close friends, reach out to people that you trust. Okay. And lean on each other because you may be surprised who you reach out to is possibly going through the same thing, even if, right? There's a lot of transformation happening right now, and into June and into July. We are transforming as a species, you guys. We're transforming in a huge, huge way, in an unprecedented way within our physical bodies. We have never done that before as a humanity on this planet. Okay. The human bodies have always been shed as the big, kind of leaps in ascension have happened. And this is the first time we're going to be bringing our bodies with us. It's hard. Okay. It's not easy. So you've been doing a lot of hard work and that's amazing. And again, what I keep hearing is you haven't even realized what you've been doing, but whatever you've been doing, okay, I feel like you've just allowed things that were kind of just busy work or busy noise or dust bunnies in your energy. You've allowed all of that to just fall away. You've cleared a lot out of your field. Okay. You've got a lot more clarity and you're just focusing on the good more, maybe not all the time. I get it. But you are at least making an intention, setting an intention, making an effort to see the good. Okay, to focus on the good. That's super important, Leo. That's huge. Okay, so let's go on to the current, which is going to be the mid chunk of June-ish, right? Again, you're going to know where you are in this. The messenger. So this is showing up as you absolutely being a messenger for humanity, spreading a message. You have a very important message to share. It's also coming through as guides. You've got a lot of beautiful guides. You've got a lot of angelic guides. You've got a lot of help. Okay, you've got a lot of help in the energetic realm that you can't necessarily see, but you might, as you come into this current energy, you're going to be feeling more of that. You're going to be feeling more supported, and possibly even in the physical. Maybe you'll realize that current people in your life are like-minded, more like-minded than you thought, or you're going to meet more people who are like-minded. Okay, and that's going to be huge for you too, because I know that Leos, lions live in packs, right? Okay. Tell me if that's pride. Thank you. I knew that wasn't right. Lions live in families. They're not solitary creatures, right? They love their families. and not saying biological necessarily, but your soul family. And so you've been feeling really kind of alone doing all this work, but you've been pushing through anyway, and that's amazing. And maybe even a little bit kind of, trying to avoid dealing with the fact that you feel really lonely, but honestly, it's okay. You've been focusing on all the right things. Okay. So don't worry about that. But yeah, this is you coming through. Again, current energies, it's going to be, I'm seeing like the middle 2.5 weeks of June. It's going to be, you're just going to feel a lot more supported, and you're going to notice that you are creating all by yourself, all by your little lonesome. You're creating a new foundation for yourself. You're not so much free falling anymore. Look, as calm as she looks, it kind of appears like there's no ground, right? Like she's kind of floating there. But I feel like you have felt like you're detached, right? Detached, kind of, not free falling, but just floaty and not grounded, right? So this is going to come in. This is going to be, and I do feel like sometimes, a lot of times it can actually be, not detrimental. I don't want to say detrimental. That's too strong of a word, but it can actually slow us down a little bit if we are always, always, always grounding. Sometimes we need to be up. Sometimes we need to go up into the ethers. Sometimes we need to travel to 7D and come back, okay? Because we're picking up codes, right? We're picking up the next level of codes. We're picking up the next, batch of information to anchor this grid, okay? To anchor this new crystalline grid into the earth. And the cool thing about it is, if you think of it this way, we're not actually going up and getting anything. We're going up, evolving, raising our own frequency, and coming down. We are the grid. Okay. We are the nodes. And once we're all plugged in, and I've been talking about this for months, is because I got this message big time, is we're all the nodes, light workers. If you're watching this, you're a light worker, and you are a node. And there's a reason that we seem to be scattered all over the planet, because we each have a specific plug-in point geographically. We're not all there yet. Like for me personally, I'm pretty sure I'm not there yet. This is not where I live now, is not my plug-in point. Okay. And so once all of us are in place, that grid is going to be fully activated, because it's us. It's not something we're pulling down and, like an external thing that we're bringing down. We're actually, when we go up to get the codes and everything, we're literally just allowing more into our own beings, into our own energy bodies, and evolving our own energy bodies, and becoming more and more ready to activate our collective energy, right? Our collective, our new collective, our new world, and really turn it on all the way. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I felt the need to say all that. So glean what you will from it. I have no idea. But this is, this messenger is standing kind of, hoo-ha deep in water. I'm not sure. Tell me what's going on. Rising out of the deep. Yeah. So you've been doing a lot of work, maybe even feeling like, even though this is so bright and colorful and light, I feel like the work that you've been doing, you have been, it's almost like you've been kind of two people. Like you'll get some days where you're really motivated and you're really energetic and you feel really good, and you make progress, let's say personal journey, whatever that is. You make progress, like in your career, you do something good to further something that makes you feel really good. And then other days you've had where you just feel like you're alone. It's kind of dark. You're depressed. Okay. I can feel, Leo, that you've been feeling kind of low. And, when we don't feel supported, when we don't feel like we have any companionship or anyone who really understands us, that is really a heavy energy, right? When we feel alone. And even, people can tell us a million times, oh, but you're not alone. You've got blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. We have to work through these times. And we have to get to the point where we actually realize that they're part of the process, and that we can, if we set an intention to get everything that we need out of those times, then they get less and less low. They feel less and less low. They become part of the ebb and flow of the ascension process. And we're like, okay, well, this is going to be like, I just need to dig in and do some work. And I might feel kind of alone, but I'm going to revel in that. I'm going to do the things, I'm going to do all these activities that I like to do alone. binge watch your favorite show, or watch your favorite movies, or, activities that you like to do all by yourself. That's the time to do it. And then you sail through those periods, easier and easier. They don't have to result in a deep depression, is what I'm saying. They don't have to result in you falling all the way down to the bottom of the pit. Not anymore. Okay. Because you've done all of that work. You've filled in a lot of the pits. Okay. So now it's just going to be kind of missteps, and not even missteps because it's all part of the path, right? It's just going to be little, we're going to step in the puddles. We're going to step in the mud puddles, and it's all good. And so this is the guidance, not only your guidance kind of reappearing, but you're going to have new guides. You're going to have more guides. We always have a ton, but you're going to be aware of more. And, the big ones, the Ascended Masters, the angelic guides, they kind of come and go depending on who you need, depending on what energy you need, right? Like Michael is protection. Raphael is like physical kind of discomfort, dis-ease, illness. Raphael's really good about that. He's a physical healing angel. They all kind of have their shtick. They all kind of have their focus. And so you will notice that different energies come in and out. But we always have a ton. I do love how if you look close, like the upper chakras are really lit up. I can't necessarily see the third eye, but there's a little like teardrop tattoo on her third eye. But even the lower ones are all lit up. They're below the water. Whew, I really want to get, and so your guides are coming out, but you are also emerging from this darkness. And the water that's very symbolic of a healing time, a deep healing going inward. It's very symbolic of that because water is very emotional. Water symbolizes emotions flowing. Okay. So you're coming out of a deep emotional time. Okay. You are coming out of it in June. Okay. This is you stepping out of it, and look how bright and shiny you are. And you've found your wings. Good job. You found your wings. They're maybe not fully unfurled yet, but they're there. They're there. You uncovered them. You got all the muck. They look so clean and bright and shiny. You cleaned all the muck off of your wings. Give yourself some time. This is coming out of another cocoon, right? We have so many cocooning periods, right? Like this is you have been cocooning. Like, look, that even looks like a cocoon, you guys. You have been cocooning, working on fear. Fear is a huge one. Working on fear, working on realizing what it actually is. It's not real. Okay, it's not real. And so you've been cocooning in there, really, really digging in and healing the sources of your fear. That's what I think. You may not see the results or the benefits of that yet, because what you were doing in here was kind of, how they say pulling the thread. Like if you have a sweater, you began pulling the thread, and it's going to continue to unravel. Okay. You have set it in motion, and it cannot be stopped now. So you're going to start to see that. But it also takes some, releasing all of these huge foundations, patterns, traumas, attachments, releasing all these things to people, places, things, jobs, it's a big deal. And you have to allow yourself to be human. You have to allow yourself to feel all the feels, right? The water, it looks dark, but it's actually really calm and warm and safe. You're safe down in there. Okay. Just don't build a summer house, right? But the emotions have to be processed through, so that you can emerge from the cocoon again. So, because I lost my train of thought. I'm going to see if I can get it back. It'll come if it's important. But I know I was going somewhere, and then I forgot where I was going, and I went somewhere else. And that's okay. Cocooning. This looks like a cocoon. And now you're coming out of the cocoon, and you found your wings. This is perfect far. Definitely a lot going on for you guys, Leo. Oh, you have to allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to grieve. That's where I was going with that. I knew it would come. I knew it would come back if I was just patient. So it's okay to experience a grieving period for something that has fallen away from your life, or that you've worked really hard to let go of, even if you knew the whole time that it was bad for you. Okay. We beat ourselves up. We're like, oh, well, I should be relieved. I should feel free from that because I knew it was bad for me from the beginning. A relationship, a job, something, living in a certain place, an atmosphere you put yourself in. This doesn't feel good from the beginning. We knew it, but we I don't know, there was something you needed to get from it, right? And you stayed exactly as long as you needed to, but it still will bring on a period of grieving because you've gotten accustomed to that being in your energy. And then in a way, even if it was really bad for you, even if it was abusive and toxic, in a way, it became a comfort for you. Okay. And, if that triggers you, I feel like I just triggered everybody, but it triggers you. You're welcome. So you just have to realize that you're allowed to have emotions about letting go of something that wasn't good for you. You're allowed to be sad about it. Okay. Let yourself. So, oh my gosh, look at this. So War and Peace comes out in the near future, again, end of June into beginning of July. What I will say about this one is, the time of, not saying that you're not allowed to feel a warrior energy, right? We're still very much kind of in warrior energy. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. What this is showing me is that you're starting to see that, I don't know what the crosses are about. That's an interesting, but the flowers and the hearts are beautiful. The crosses, I mean, is that signifying the war? That's interesting. I'm going to see what this card wants to tell me. Because what I saw right away was, first of all, balance, dark and light, war and peace. Yes, we are coming out of a period of conflict, of competition, of, everyone wanting to conquer everyone else. The division, right? You're a different color than me, or you're a different religion than me, or you're a different gender than me. All the division, seriously, is coming to an end. But it's more of a, you know what? I'm going to do something I don't normally do. And I want to read the book. Is this the right deck? Is this the right book? No, that's the Rebels. Is this the... Yes, it is. Okay. No idea what deck it is, you guys. That's how on I am today. Yeah, it's this deck, by the way, the Magdalene Oracle. My very first deck was gifted to me, so it's very special to me. But I want to see what the book says about this war and peace, because I'm intrigued. There is a clash between your logical mind and a heartfelt yearning at present. So what I'm seeing by the end of June coming into July, that's all I needed, the clash word. More individual than collective. Although as within, so without, right? You're coming into a period where you're going to be healing a lot of deep foundational belief systems, okay, that aren't yours. So what I'm seeing is that largely you signed up to help the collective heal this, but you have been caught in this reincarnation system for generation after, for life after life after life. We have taken on our own little piece of it, right? Of this kind of, we're trapped in that, we've been trapped in this cycle of thinking that we needed to, peacetime is temporary. And there'll again be war. That giant cycle is ending. Okay. It's huge. It's a huge cycle. And different areas, what I've noticed thus far too, is different areas of the planet are having a harder time releasing that energy. Germany, okay, for one, big time, that whole area over there, because there has been so much war there and conflict and low vibe and negative energy and darkness, right? So, they may, and there are other places, I don't want to single out Germany, but that's kind of just an easy one to bring up, right? Like I've noticed, I have friends in Germany and they are reporting that it seems like they're having a really hard time healing the war cycle because they've been trapped in it for so long. And we all have. Okay, we come into this world, it was almost part of the DNA that now has been stripped away, right? It's been washed away like barnacles off of a ship. It's now gone. And so now we're like, well, without that, it's almost like we try to recreate it. We try to put it back. No, put those barnacles back, because I don't know who I am without those. I don't know what to do without a war peace cycle. I don't know what to do without that. What do we do? Guess what we do? We live in peace and harmony and contentment and love and compassion and tolerance. And we live as one fucking humanity for once. And I know that seems too good to be true to a lot of people yet. And I'm telling you, as I travel on this journey, it's becoming more and more real and more valid, legitimate. Like, okay, this is legit happening right now. Is that we are really coming out of, and again, what I keep seeing, it's interesting. This is the Magdalene deck, so I guess it kind of makes sense. The cross that, Jesus crucified on. That's another story, kids. It's the cross. And so what I'm feeling coming through is this, this trying to keep, what was the whole story behind that is they wanted to send a message to his people to stop trying to stand up for themselves, to just succumb and do whatever they were told and stop trying to be who they really were. Be like us, stop trying to be you, and we won't kill all of you. Okay, that was the message. And so it's this masculine, I'm better than you and I have to always believe that I'm better than you. So I'm going to conquer you in order to prove it, right? Like kings, and what were really kings and queens anywhere, they were the strongest and usually the most violent, right? And then they took over and called themselves kings and queens. I mean, there's no royal bloodline, you guys. Everybody bleeds red. Everybody's a mutt of alien DNA, okay, and human mixed in, and who knows what stardust, I don't know, unicorn shit, I have no idea. We're all mutts made up of so many different things. And so that is what I'm seeing is this, we're bringing it into balance first because it is kind of dark and light, but then, these crosses will fade away and we're going to be left with the peace because we deserve it. And it's not just another cycle. It's not just the beginning of another cycle is what I wanted to say. We're not, people are going, oh, we'll get like maybe 100 years of peace and then right back into conflict and war. Not anymore. That is a big cycle we're breaking. And so I feel like within you, let's get to the point, Wendy, within you in the near future, end of June into the beginning of July, this is going to be happening within your own energy, letting go of all these foundational, huge belief systems that have been a part of your energy since you incarnated the very first time. Okay, thousands of years ago, however long ago, it has become, it was part of our DNA. It was more like, like I said, it was more like barnacles. It was more like, attachments to the DNA that have been washed off. It's gone. It's gone. I have already seen this. It is gone. Those barnacles have been washed away. Now we're trying to figure out how to exist without them and how to not recreate them and put them back. We have that power. We are master manifestors. We have the power to create the barnacles again and stay in this cycle. But guess what? Gaia is already in 5D. So if you want to hang out on Gaia for a little while longer, then you're going to have to get used to a barnacle-free life, okay? Because that's what's going on. And we're coming into love, compassion, peace, okay? The war cycle is being broken. And so it's going to be a big thing in your energy, and you're going to really lend to it. I want to see an inner war. Okay, and so it's going to be a lot about releasing your responsibility. You feel responsible because let's say you've got a lot of soul imprints or even past lives where you maybe were part of perpetuating this war cycle, war peace cycle, this perpetual, what we used to think perpetual, not anymore. You are going to be releasing responsibility for that. You were playing a part. You were fulfilling a contract just like everybody has done. Okay. And you did your part and now you're doing your part again to get us out of it. We needed to be in it for whatever reason. We really wanted to experience that duality, right? That conflict. We really wanted to experience that energy. And, there's something to be said for, the more darkness you've experienced, the more you appreciate the light, right? And so, to really, truly appreciate a time of peace, an era of peace and compassion and love and living in unity, we really need right back down into the darkness. So that's cool. All right, we don't need any more of that. I knew I just needed like one line. Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to clarify each of these. I'm going to stick with the same deck, this beautiful Magdalene deck, and we're going to clarify each one of these. So let me please clarify this gratitude in the recent past, end of May, early June. Anything else that Leo might need to know about this energy? And then we'll get some guidance from your guides. We'll get some messages from your guides, Leos, and then we'll get a final kind of wrap-up card. We shall see. Okay. We'll see what the messages are. Let me clarify these. So I'm just going to go like that. Boop, boop, boop. Cool. Give me the messages. Okay. These again came out in reverse, but that's fine. I don't worry about that too much. So to clarify gratitude, the prophet. So you've been coming to terms, Leo, with your magicalness. is really what the basic message is. Like, look at that fire, first of all, very Leo, right? You have been coming to terms with how amazing you really are and what your potential truly is. You've really learned to, like, I feel like there's been a lot of doubt, right? A lot of doubt. You're essentially, you've been a lion rejecting his crown. Okay. And so you've been working on that. And you've been allowing your fire energy to really cultivate and to build and to fill you, right? And that's soul energy. Like, that's who you are. You are, attached to the fire element. You are part of fire. And so when you increase your fire in a good way, you expand your soul in your energy body. And so it's really coming through. You've been doing a lot, like all this work, you've been doing this cocooning, this turning inward, and this really cultivating and working on the feminine, right? Because going inward is very feminine. Being in stillness, going into the void and working on your own shadows, that's a feminine act. Okay, that is a feminine thing to do. It's going inward, because the masculine then, which is now starting to come out again because you did all this work, the masculine again is the action, the courage, the confidence, the doing, right? But you've been focusing on being more so that you can bring it into balance. And you've actually, in the being, you've actually really stoked that fire, your passion for life, your passion for your mission, your clarity of your mission. You've really been stoking the fire by cultivating your feminine. And this is for women and men, okay? Ooh, and I just got a little woozy. Like, this is big stuff, you guys, you've been doing. And again, like I keep getting, they don't even realize that's what they've been doing, but you've been doing it. I'm so proud of you. So that's your fire coming through, and it's going to really lend to, and then that goes into, right, you coming out of emerging from the shadow work, right, emerging from the dark. And so to clarify this, we got the judgment. Now notice it doesn't say judgment, it says the judgment. And so let me sit with this one for a minute, because I think this is really interesting. I love the artwork on this one because it seems very simple, but it's actually got a lot going on. A lot of yellow, right? A lot of maybe fear and anxiety. And so, so you've been doing a lot of the work. I'm getting the story. I'm going to get the flow going here and see what we've got. And you're emerging, right, from the darkness. What happens when we have been inward? We've disconnected, we've disengaged from the world for a little bit, as much as we can. And we try to re-engage. A lot of times we get knocked right back down, right? A lot of times we come face to face with a lot of people who, you've grown, you've changed, you've transformed, you are now shifting and seeing things in a whole new perspective, but maybe the world hasn't. Okay, so we come out, like, let's say we come out of our cocoon, and maybe that's why your wings aren't completely unfurled yet, and that's okay. Be cautious, right? It's okay to be cautious. It's okay to, again, this is the current, right? This is going to be the middle chunk of June-ish, right? You'll know where you're at. But it's okay to come into the room slowly and assess the situation and observe from the edges, from the walls. It's okay to be a wallflower for a while, because you're going to come out into the world kind of with this new perspective and this new, like, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, the world is so beautiful and I can't wait to share this information. And you seek out your friends. And a lot of times when we cocoon and we reemerge, our friends are no longer aligned. Okay, so be prepared for that. And that's going to happen too, is you're going to feel, and now that doesn't mean necessarily that you have to kick them to the curb. Sometimes they just naturally fall away. Sometimes they will leave, and that's okay too. That's their journey, right? But sometimes it does require, like, maybe you're going to come out and just have this new kind of fierce courage, and you're going to be able to get rid of some toxic stuff in your life, people, places, things, jobs. Okay, you'll have the courage to do it because you'll have this newfound courage, you'll have this newfound confidence. But what this card is saying also is that, or this message coming through, is that we can get kind of knocked down a peg, and then we go into disappointment versus gratitude, right? It's important to stay in gratitude. In fact, this being the first card that I drew, think of it as kind of the overall theme, underlying foundation of your new energy is gratitude. And so staying in gratitude can be difficult when we come out excited about something. We've been hermiting, we reemerge, and we're excited to share. And all of a sudden, all the people that you resonated with before have no idea what you're talking about, and you're getting hit with judgment, right? And so that can affect us on a deep level. So just be prepared. I think really what this message is bringing through is, the messenger, right? This is on the messenger line, right? The messenger is telling you, just be prepared for that and know that it's part of the process, and that for every person that you lose, you'll gain 10 more coming your way, okay? And it's not even losing, it's allowing them to own road and honoring their journey. Whether they're honoring yours or not, it doesn't matter. That's not your job. That's their job. And you can't do that for them. But when you honor their journey, it does heal a little bit for them, that specific thing, or at the very least will crack them open to it, and it'll help them heal it as well. But all you can do is let go on your end, okay? That's all you can do. And so you are going to be faced with some challenges when you reemerge, as we always are when a new cycle begins. Again, this is not the War and Peace cycle. This is just a new kind of ascension cycle, okay, for you individually, Leo. And so, but just know that you are like this beautiful creature, this beautiful angelic creature is reemerging. First of all, it's very balanced, very kind of gender neutral. It does seem feminine. I do see, a feminine physique there, but in general, it's very balanced, I feel like. And, they say angels are really gender neutral. We create, they come in with the energies that we need. But overall, it's a very steadfast energy. Very, this creature is sure of itself, reemerging from the shadow work, that everything's going to be fine. Okay. So trust is going to come through in a big way too. But yeah, this is just kind of I don't even want to say warning. I don't like that word, but this is telling you that, first of all, you've got this, right? You're going to be okay. I do feel like you will feel the need when you reemerge, if you haven't already, you will feel the need to make changes in your life that you never thought you would make. Okay. And that means possibly letting go of a person you never thought you could let go of. You will be ready. Okay. Mid-June-ish, you'll be ready to do it. And it hurt. And again, even if this person, not initially a person, right? For some of you, it could be a job or a situation, living situation. I'm getting for some of you, where maybe you have a lot of roommates, or you're living at home and you need to not be there anymore. But it may hurt, even if you know that the situation wasn't good for you. Okay, remember that. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to go through the process of letting go, which is essentially the stages of grief, right? I mean, those are valid. We do actually go through those when we let go of something big. Okay. So let's look at this. The near future, end of June into July, you had the War and Peace, which is basically the war cycle being broken on the collective level and within you. And you're going to be letting go of your little piece of that, right? You're going to be letting go of responsibility for that, of, oh my gosh, it's been, or just of blaming yourself from past lives. Like, we all feel kind of responsible. We all should feel responsible for this current state of the world. We all have a part in it, right? We've all lived these past lives that got us here. Okay. We've built on this, and we are the reason we are here, exactly where we are right now. And so you're going to be letting go of any blame, any self-blame, any self-loathing, any self-judgment about your part in it, either this life or a past life. Okay. So this may be a good time too to delve into past life healing if you haven't already. End of June into July, seek out Akashic healers, seek out QHHT, look it up if you don't know what that is, and BQH are great modalities for past life healings. Okay. Seek those out. But what I got for clarification was this beautiful horizontal card, acceptance. And look at that water again. I love that both of these are like kind of, she's not super she's kind of emerging out of the water, but this is more like, just more like a confidence, a steadfastness, a resolve, a courage, a newfound kind of stability. Okay. About the new, and I think I said this already, that you're going to be realizing that the foundation that you felt like you did lose, you're you're feeling more stable again. You're realizing that you are creating a new foundation. And it's totally different from the last one because that one was in a false reality matrix. Okay. So acceptance, first of all, she's got the sun beating down on her, which is beautiful. I do feel like she is kind of reemerging out of the water, out of this kind of emotional time. And so here you go. This is your kind of cycle. You're going to have a little bit of ebb and flow in June. Okay. Because you've got this, you were cocooning. And then as you were cocooning, you were really stoking your passion fire, right? For your mission, for life, for being here, for being human. And then you're emerging, right? And then maybe there are going to be forces that are going to try to knock you back down. You're not going to let them, I promise. Turn to guides, turn to trust friends, turn to whoever you need to turn to get you through it, okay? It's going to be challenging, but it's not going to be as bad as you think, I promise. In fact, you're going to get to July and go, oh, I did it. And maybe in a lot of ways, you didn't even realize you were doing it because you were engaged, right, in it. And so then we've got this big thing healing because you're ready. So maybe you might go a little bit inward again. This might drive you inward, but what I'm seeing is that don't allow this outside judgment, this external judgment, don't allow the process of letting go of people who you are no longer aligned with since you emerged from this cocooning. Don't allow that to cause you to cocoon again because it's not quite time for that. I'm seeing that they're like, okay, just make sure that they don't like curl up inside themselves again. You can in a moment, for processing emotions, which is very healthy, but don't let it drive you back into the dark, okay? Don't let it. This is also, because look at this, it says judgment, but it's also very bright. You are this. So here's all this kind of chaos around you going, you can't do this. You can't think this. You can't share this. You're crazy. This is you in the middle going, I don't give a shit what is going on out here. Yeah. And my throat always goes nuts when I'm on a roll, right? When I'm down the right track. So this is you, a very clear, very clear, brazen, steadfast beam of light. That's you. Okay. Oh, what order were these in again? I forgot. So you've got this straight. So then you're going to be processing a lot of this responsibility, right? For the cycles that we've been in, but then you're going to come out of it a lot quicker. Okay. Each time we go through this process of healing and go through maybe people call it tower moments. I'm not even sure where that term came from and how it relates to shadow work. Tower. I mean, a tower to me is, prison. I always think damsels in distress. Not everything is about that, so I don't necessarily, tower moments, not my go-to. I prefer just kind of a deep healing process or whatever, comes intuitively, but this is going to be just kind of another mini, I don't even want to say cocooning, but, you're going to be, it's going to be a really big, like, I feel like I just saw you helping lift, you and a million other people helping lift this giant layer, this giant cycle. Like, let's imagine like it's like a giant Ferris wheel. And we have knocked it over already. It's been knocked over. Now, a lot of people are trying to recreate it, but it's not going to be able to because it cannot function in the new energy. Once we knocked it down, we were able to raise the frequency enough on the planet that they can't build it again. Okay, they cannot. It would not exist. And so you are doing your part in this. This is definitely a big collective thing. And then you'll be reemerging again, but it's going to be a much gentler, like I almost feel like, okay, not that this is kind of sharp and harsh, but this is less, it's definitely harder as far as rigidness is what I mean, not more difficult. You're going to come out like, okay, I'm doing this and maybe kind of have blinders on until this judgment comes in. And then you're gonna be like, oh, that's right. The world isn't necessarily perfectly aligned, but this reemerging out of the emotional waters, right? Out of the healing process is going to be directly into the sunshine. And you are going to be more raw and exposed and vulnerable in a fabulous, beautiful way than ever before. And look, does she care? Does she care that she's naked? No, she does not. She feels beautiful because she is. And she knows she is. She knows who she is. She knows that she's got herself out there. She knows she's visible and she's good with it. She has already come to terms with it. So it's like this reemerging from this huge collective healing is going to be so amazing that you're just going to feel like a new person. You're going to feel, again, end of June, into July, you're going to feel like a totally different person. This is very sensual. I almost feel like if you've kind of been void of maybe your sexual energy, maybe your sacral I feel like that's going to be a big thing coming through, is that's going to be turned on and you're going to feel more. And it's not just about sex, you guys, or having a great sex life, although that's good. It's about that creation energy. It's about really feeding that creation center and realizing that that's where, for women especially, but men too, pay attention, but for women especially, the sacral is where we create, literally and figuratively, right? We create all of our ideas, all of our, if you're like a spiritual entrepreneur, all of your classes, they're all going to originate in this sacral, because our womb space is our creation space for women. Okay. And so I do feel like it's going to be for women, it's going to be a lot of coming into our sensuality that we have been robbed of for centuries, because we've been made to believe that sensuality is dirty, that if you enjoy sex, you're a whore. To be ashamed of your female parts, right? I mean, they went so far as to hide women away when they were pregnant because it was gross, because it was, and, there was a whole, there's a rumor that is very actually well documented. There's a rumor that books that were written, transcribed, copied, it was all by hand, long ago, that a lot of them for decades, it was done by a sect of monks who believed that women had no souls. And so how do you think the books are going to be skewed if they're being written by a bunch of very closed off men who thought that women were merely vessels to bring babies into the world and had no souls and had no value, had no worth? So that's just and this has affected men too. I'm not blaming men. It is not the men's fault. It is 50-50. That's a huge thing for me, is don't try to blame the other sex, and don't try to take more than 50% of the responsibility. This has been 50-50 from minute one. We have allowed ourselves to be these kind of meek housewives, right? And I'm not saying obviously not everybody is like that, but we've allowed it. We've allowed all of that, all of what has happened to us. We allowed it. Okay. And so they just kept doing it because we allowed it. So anyway, I don't want to get down that soapbox, but this reemergence is going to be fucking beautiful. I cannot wait to watch you, Leo, come out of that. So now what I want to do is get a message for each one, and we're going to kind of do this quickly because I'm already almost an hour. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I keep saying I'm going to stop apologizing because it is what it is, right? You're going to watch to the end or you're not. I don't really care. I'm not doing this to get the views. I'm doing this because whoever needs to hear it is going to be drawn to it. And that's all I want to do is put the messages out there. So let's get a message from the guides for Leo, please, on this past, present, future. I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to go like that. Okay. Wow. Okay. Goodness gracious. All three, I just had the deck upside down, I think. All three came out in reverse. I'm not going to worry about that. Dang, I've never pulled that card. Okay, so for the recent past, the world wants to be written. The word, wants to be written. Look how purple that is. So purpley. Number 42, this is beautiful. So you have really cracked open the code within your energy bodies. You have cracked open the code. 42, if you don't know the story behind that, in relation to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they refer to 42 as the response to the question, what is the meaning of life? And because 42 in computer coding, and this is just in layman's terms, so forgive me if I'm not exactly right about what it is, but 42 in basic, simple terms is whatever you want it to be. That's what 42 means in computer coding, is whatever you want it to be. So the meaning of life is whatever you want it to be. And what your life looks like is whatever you want it to look like. Okay. So you have really cracked open that path for yourself by doing all this beautiful work and stoking your passion fire. I mean, it's just amazing. And, think of it this way too, from root to crown. You are doing so much balancing in your entire system, in your entire energy body. It's amazing. And I mean, look at the growth. Look at so much. Her crown is just going crazy. Her third eye, and all this beautiful, butterflies, new life, renewal, emerging again. And how much your whole reading has been about butterflies, right? About cocooning and re-emerging. And look at all of this. This is how much, like, you may think, okay, I have one path, I have one thing I'm going to do. This is all the things you're going to do to contribute to this ascension and to saving humanity, to keeping humanity on this ascension path versus allowing it to destroy itself, right? This is what you're bringing to the table. It's a lot. It's a lot. So don't sell yourself short. Okay, current energies. Follow your own rhythm. Okay, that's beautiful, coming on the heels of this, right? And that's where it is. That's where it sits. So you're going to reemerge. You're going to have a period where you're like, oh shit, the world hasn't changed at all. Like, what do I do now? And you'll be letting go of people, places, things, jobs, and you're going to be grieving. But at the same time, you're just going to feel the need. And it's not even going to be like, you don't have to be like, okay, remember, I have to just follow my own path. You're just going to be like, you're going to know you have to do it. And you are going to follow your own path. Everyone else be damned. Okay. Stick to your path. No one else can know what that is for you. No one else knows what's in your heart. Okay. But you. So this is you being you unapologetically. And you are really coming into that in mid-June, okay? And that's beautiful, right? And again, absolutely perfect coming in on because that's when we really are able to, we kind of go, not necessarily every time, but I love how you're going from a deep personal process, right? A deep cocooning, personal cocooning, and then to really stepping up and helping with this huge collective healing, right? At the end of June. And so let's get this clarification at the end. So we had this one, right? And acceptance, your reemergence as this sensual, just really confident lioness. I mean, go for it. Women and men, dudes. We got to balance the masculine and the feminine. This is going to be bringing what you've been creating, right? During this cocooning, which was really bringing in like a lot of feminine, right? And this is a very feminine energy as well. But during that cocooning, you were creating, it's a creation process, and you're going to be really bringing that through with this fierce energy. And yeah, it's water, but she's just like so on fire to me. And that sun blazing overhead, just tons of fire energy there. But look at this, even more. This is interesting. Let's see what is the progression of this? So these two right after each other. Two naked ladies in the water. So this says against the grain. Number 4, fucking perfection. I can't even, you are going to reemerge as this confident lioness, more balanced, more sure of yourself, more grounded, more connected to source, more everything that you need to be, right? And you are going to just do what you came here to do. Again, it's a lot about this, but this is more hermiting, a little bit of hermiting, right? Like, okay, going in and just, and doing a little bit of self-healing, doing, baby step self-healing to keep moving forward. But this is definitely more intimate energy. Whereas this is like, fuck it all. I am going to do me in front of everybody. And I don't care who, has a judgment about it, but I'm going to be raw and vulnerable and exposed. And I'm going to share my story, and I'm going to share my gifts, no matter how much my mom thinks they're crazy, no matter how much my brother or sister might think I've lost my mind. I'm just fucking doing it, because there comes a time where we just can't not do it anymore. Okay. You get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm either done. And I'm not kidding. I'm not going to mince words here. You come to a point where you're like, I'm either going to kill myself now, or I'm going to do my own thing. Okay. Because being plugged back into the matrix is no longer an option. All right. Unless you've chosen that, those people have never come unplugged. Okay. They're still plugged in. And I do personally, you may have a different perspective, and that's great. That's fine. I don't need messages about it, I promise, or comments about it. But, I kind of believe still, and I may shift my belief. I love when I shift beliefs. It's beautiful. It's huge growth. But I believe that there are people who need to do another round in 3D, and they're not coming this time. And yes, everyone is coming, and we're not leaving anyone behind eventually. But some people need to hang out in 3D a little longer. Okay. So they will be checking out, and they will be reincarnating on a different planet that's still in 3D for a while. Okay. Anyway, so number 4, if that means anything to you. We also had number 5 and then 42. Those are the only ones with numbers. So 4 and 5, great progression. But yeah, I just think it's interesting. So look, there are birds under the water. I mean, that's what it looks like. That the birds are swimming under the water. Do your own thing. You may not even know what that is yet. Okay, until you get to the end of June into the beginning of July. And then I promise you, you're just not going to be able to not do it. And you're going to be like, screw everybody else. I'm going to completely change my fashion style. That's something I've noticed for me is I never really knew what my fashion style was. And so I've been all over the map in my life. I have been all over the place. And now I'm really feeling like I know how I want to present myself to the world as far as clothing, as far as body coverings. And it is not what I would have expected, what I would have predicted. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have turned my nose up at the stuff that I'm now thinking, oh, I really like that. And that looks like me. Okay. So it can be, then that may seem small, but it's all part of the larger picture. It's all part of how we feel in our skin, right? In these physical, in these meat sacks, right? It's all about, and it's absolutely okay to feel good, to feel attractive, to look your best. It's actually not just okay. It's vital, right? Like we don't all have to be, you hear the stories about John the Baptist and he never shaved and he was like a hermit in the forest and he wore furs and he was like this kind of really scruffy, he didn't bathe, that kind of thing. And even like, if we stick with the Jesus, which I apologize if this triggers anybody, whatever. I love Yeshua. I personally think Yeshua was real. I think he shakes his head at all this worshiping thing. He never wanted to be worshiped. He just was a light worker who came to do something that was way bigger than he thought it was. And not that he failed, but we came in as kind of the second wave, right, of his mission. But if we stick with that, with the whole Yeshua thing, right? Like it was like his followers, they were required to give up everything and walk away from everything, all creature comforts. We're not in that time anymore, you guys. We're allowed to have things, okay? We're allowed to look pretty. We're allowed to put makeup on. We're allowed to have pretty hair. We're allowed to have pretty things, okay? We're allowed to feel beautiful, and that goes for women and men, okay? So, and this is, but this is just, energetically speaking, it's like, you have never felt more stripped away. You have really been doing the work. And these two, like even these 3, right? Well, okay, you got 4. You got 4 naked bodies, okay? If that doesn't speak to you stripping away everything you don't need anymore, I don't know what does. You are really undressing. You're shedding it all. I always like to think of every time we have a breakthrough, we've taken off a fur coat. And we all come in wearing like hundreds of fur coats, right? And as we shed each coat, we're lighter, we're more and more free, we have more clarity, we have more energy, all of that stuff. And boy, are you shedding, Leo. I mean, just amazing. Okay, last one, I promise. I'm just going to get one last kind of overall message. And this is, I usually show the decks. I'm sorry, I'm slacking on that. This is my Mythic Oracle deck. And so we're going to get a message from this lovely fire maiden. Let's get one last kind of wrap-up message for Leo, please, for June 2021. All righty. I want it to be perfect. All right. So Orpheus, Faith, 39. So that's interesting, too, because let me see what's at the bottom of the deck. Oh, Apollo, Clarity. Okay, so yeah, okay. I'm just trying to let the cards speak to me. So I got somebody. Hold on, please. I'm almost done. So Orpheus, Faith. You know what? I'm gonna look in the book. I'm not ashamed. I'm not too proud to look in the book because I'm not sure what he's trying to tell me. And after an hour of babbling, I'm trying to wrap this up. Known as the father of song, again, we're speaking to you really being able to share your message. Anytime music comes through, or any that kind of expression, artistic expression, it's about you really coming into your own gifts and knowing how to share them with the world. So that's what Orpheus is doing. He's an incredibly complex mythological figure. And again, didn't I say, where's that one picture? Look at all you're bringing. Like, you don't have just one path. You're going to get to do a lot of fun stuff. Okay. You're going to bring a lot to the world in very different ways. He was a master poet and musician and is said to have founded the mysterious Greek religion Orphism. When a poisonous snake killed his wife Eurydice, I remember this story. I don't know that that story applies, but the faith in general, I mean, that is about faith, right? Oops. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So it's about moving forward, right? Against the grain, acceptance. I mean, follow your own rhythm. I mean, huge, huge messages. It's about really trusting that doing your own thing is going to pay off for you. Doing your own thing is what you came here to do. Okay. You're going to come across a lot of people who are like, well, everybody's doing, all the light workers doing this now. Maybe you should start doing this. And you are not going to want to do it. And part of you is going to go, oh, but what if I'm supposed to? You will know better. You will know better. Trust your own song is what the message is coming through, right? Trust your own. I don't like faith. I'm not a huge fan of that word. I feel like faith and hope are very passive words and don't speak to empowerment. They're very disempowering. So we're going to go with trust, because that's what the book even talks about. Like, it should say trust, but that's okay. So Eurydice, I was going to say she was coming through more as like a crone energy for me before I looked in the book. So I'm going to go with that, because I feel like, and if you look at this cave behind him, so they're looking in different directions. And so what the message coming through is, there is going to be balancing coming in, but this is you, right? If this is you, and I always see like, okay, this is the left side of the card. I don't know what it is for you, but this is the left, this is the right side. I always, when I read intuitively, I always see the future as that way and the past as this way. So what I feel like is she's not necessarily a crone. What she is the old ways, the old world, the old energy, the old generations, the old belief systems, the old false prison matrix, all of that. That's falling away into the past. And look, she's even like looking down. She's done. Okay, she's done. She's staying in the underworld, if you want to use that metaphor. All the old stuff, because doesn't she look old? She's got white hair. This dude, Orpheus, now he doesn't look super happy. That's only because you are going to have periods of grieving, of being sad about what you're letting go of, but trust your song and trust that you are moving toward the future. You have your magic. This staff's always come to me as your magic, your gifts, your power, right? You have it firmly, grasped. This is your voice. This is your message. Okay. This is the story that you're going to be sharing. And, and it's, you're going to be doing it. Like I said, you're not going to be able to not be able to do it. And just trust that moving away from all this old stuff is what you need to do. Okay. You are moving toward the future. I promise. The old stuff's going. Bye-bye. You're not going that way anymore. Okay. And again, it also speaks to, that was his wife, right? So it also speaks to the people that we're letting go of. We're not leaving anybody behind, you guys. You got to stop thinking of it that way. Okay. We're not leaving anybody behind. It's not our job to force people to come with. Okay. And we have to let go of all expectation of who's going to be on the other side of this with us, of who's going to still be here through all of this process. Okay. It's not going to be who you think, chances are. All right. So I've said before, I had advice before I started watching Game of Thrones. Yes, I watched it, but I was given advice, don't fall in love with anybody. And so I like to say, don't form attachments with anybody, because we want to fall in love with everybody. But attachment is what keeps us back in the old energy. So don't form attachments with anybody, because people are going to go that maybe today, right now in this moment, you can't imagine them ever leaving. But it's going to be okay. You are going to trust your song. You're going to trust your messages. You're going to trust your power. Okay. And you're going to keep going toward the future. And you're going to be steadfast and resolved and sure that that's the right thing to do. Okay. So I hope that helps. I'm not getting that this other card was not for us. And so that's it. Over an hour. I hope you hung in there with me, because this really wrapped up, or this really flowed into a beautiful story of just cocooning and reemerging and cocooning and reemerging, and how it's getting easier and easier every time, and how every time you reemerge, you're more fabulous than the time before. Okay. And just know that it's okay to be raw and vulnerable and exposed. And this is you having shed all the shit you don't need. And so that you can stand in your light and be, I mean, this is your passion fire, right? Be this, naked and unafraid, not naked and afraid, but naked and unafraid, because this is what you get to bring to the world. Okay. This is what you're doing. And your life can be 42, whatever you want it to be. All right. The word wants to be written. Definitely. I mean, your story, and another, yeah. And the big butterfly down here. I mean, so much cocooning and reemerging, so much transformation going on for you guys in June, from now, end of May through June into the beginning of July, Leo. You've got a lot of transformation to look forward to. Okay. Just hang in there, lean on your guides, lean on friends, lean on trusted people, and just allow yourself to go through this process. Allow yourself to be in the hermiting. If you're not here yet, allow yourself to be cocooned, because our guides really are protecting us while we're in there, more than ever, because, you know, we're disconnected, we're disengaged. And so they really wrap us in this kind of bubble wrap, this energetic bubble wrap, and keep us safe. Allow yourself to do that, because that's where you're going to really stoke your passion fire. Okay. And that's going to ignite everything that's coming in for you. All right. Fire sign, my beautiful Leos. All right. That's all I have. Again, watch your sun, moon, rising, and Venus. If you're watching these like really soon after I record them, I am still working on getting all the June up. It's a brand new channel and I'm really excited about it. I'm doing them as I can, but they will all be done by the 1st of June. So, and it's all in perfect timing, remember. So you will watch this in perfect timing and I will get them all up in perfect timing. So just remember that. Trust that everything is working in your favor. You just got to keep moving forward. All right. I love you guys. I love you, Leo. I don't have hardly any Leo in my chart. And so I tend to be drawn to Leos. So I love you. And I will see you next time. Thank you for being here.